You're listening to Snippets from the Summit with your host, Scott McKay.
All right, gentlemen, this is your main man, Scott McKay, coming at you again with another Snippet from the Summit as part of the Mountaintop podcast from X&Y Communications. Today, we're going to talk about a pretty basic topic, and it's probably come up before elsewhere, but it is so important and so mission critical to your success with women overall that it deserves talking about again and again. That's the fantasy of what results look like with women, as opposed to maybe what you really want your success to look like with women. Let me explain. For years and years and years, the vast majority of men's dating advice has focused on literally how to get laid like a rock star. 10s are reserved for rock stars. Here's how you go into a club and get a same night lay. And the interesting part is, in this particular practice, as you know, we usually talk about finding good quality women who, won't ruin your life, who you want to see again and again, not just get off with for one night and never see her again. If you're just test driving women, you don't get to see them again. You don't get to actually, well, for lack of a less crass way to put it, you don't get to park them in your garage and keep them around for a while. I mean, let's face it, if every time you have sex, it's one and done, it's hard to see that as living life on your own terms. You know what I mean? I just don't buy for a second that every single woman a guy ever has sex with, he doesn't ever want to see again or have sex with again. I just don't see the point. And let me tell you something. I've talked to men over and over, year after year, who come to me saying, hey, you know what I really want? I want a great girlfriend. I want someone who is going to respect me, someone who's going to treat me right, someone who I can go on trips with, someone who I can trust, someone who's not going to cheat on me. I don't really want to just get laid night after night. And then, all too often, they tell me that the content that they've been consuming in the men's dating advice space is all about, getting laid like a rock star. Because there's a hook there that sells. Hey, here's a woman you can't have. Here's how you make up for all that lost time. Here's how you get revenge on all those women who have leveled rejection upon you all those years. And it's kind of like junk food, guys. It just feels good to consume it, but it's poisoning your brain. And ultimately, when it's just another dirty trick that real, live, humanoid women don't respond very well to, what does it do? It just makes you a little bit more bitter, a little bit more jaded, and really, honestly, discourages you from getting real, solid advice on what to do to get better with the kind of women you really want. So, there's this fantasy of what results look like. That is lots of sex, getting laid like a rock star, same night lays, versus what most men really want, which is, first of all, a great girlfriend. And, she's hot and sexy and beautiful and the sex is great, but there's more to it than that. And most of us have more depth than just simply being horny and wanting to use women as masturbation tools. And above and beyond that, a lot of us really do want a family. We do want to leave a legacy. We do want to have a son and a daughter, pass on our family name, have a woman to grow old with, and have kids to watch grow up. Yeah, a lot of men are like, hey, you know what? I never want to be a father. A lot of guys are like, I never want to get married. But you know what, guys? I was deathly afraid of getting married. And when my wife became pregnant with our first daughter, I was horrified. I didn't think I was ready. But I'll tell you what, I now have a 23-year-old daughter. I now have a 13-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son and a stepson, who's Emily's, who's going to be 30 this year. And I wouldn't trade them for the world. They make life so much richer and so much more enjoyable. We've gone on more adventures as a family. I've gone on more adventures as a married man than I ever did when I was single. And I went on some pretty good adventures when I was single, trust me. But here's the thing. What I'm asking you today, what I'm exhorting you to do is to be honest about what you're fantasizing about and be honest about what the real results in the real world look like that you want to achieve. Because you have to feed your mind according to what your true desires are, not something that just sounds good on paper or something that you got sold on and purchased on a whim. Guys, you have to do inventory on your mindset. You have to say to yourself, first of all, who the hell am I? And what is it that I want out of my relationships? And ultimately, what do I want out of life? Once you figure that out, not only are you going to have clarity in terms of the kind of woman or women, yeah, that's okay. You could date around right now. You could play catch up a little bit before you go ahead and find that woman of your dreams and build a legacy with her. And maybe you might want to actually get laid with a different woman every night for the rest of your life. But what you got to do is that inventory and make sure that's really who you are. And when you decide what it is that you want based on your values, based on your goals, based on the life you want to live, then you know what? You're not only going to have more ability to stick to the focus it takes to go do that, but you're going to be more attractive to the kind of women you actually want almost magically because you have that directedness, you have that focus. Because men who know who the hell they are and what the hell they want make women feel safe and comfortable. And as you already know, making a woman safe and comfortable is the name of the game when it comes to being a masculine man who creates attraction. You see how that all fits together? And of course, if you're a man who is absolutely clear on what his goals are, the kind of woman or women you want to meet right now, and you're ready to get after it and improve and get real results, then I'm here for you always. And you know what, guys? It's also okay if you don't know the answers yet. I can help you with that too. The only thing I can't deal with is a guy who comes to me saying he wants one thing when he really, in his heart of hearts, wants something else. And I've seen pretty extreme examples of that, actually. I had a guy one time come to me saying he wanted to find a girlfriend and a wife, but he was thinking about, instead of doing coaching with a dating coach, buying this program that would help him build his email mailing list. Because if you had an email mailing list, the guy selling the product said, you would have a Lamborghini, and because you have a Lamborghini, you'd get women. And I was like, well, do you have a business that would involve having a mailing list? Do you have anybody you could write emails to? He was like, no, but I think it would solve all that. I go, well, what if there's a different way that's more congruent with who you are and where you stand right now that will help you actually get the women in your life? But he was tantalized by the marketing rather than what he actually wanted. Guys, that cannot stand. Nowadays, we're getting bombarded by all sorts of messages in the media. And if you're going to be blown and tossed by the wind and influenced on a whim by every shiny object you see out there that sends you off course, then you're never going to get what you want because the goalposts are moving every day with every marketing message you see. Guys, if anything has ever been more important than figuring this out to your success with women, I don't know what it is. Because simply put, until you know who the hell you are and what you want and who you want, women won't have a clue either. And you won't be attractive to them until you figure that out, because you can't make them feel safe and comfortable until you have that figured out. If you want to talk about this or anything else, Scott at mountaintoppodcast.com. Be good out there.
As always, visit mountaintoppodcast.com for more.